Meal prep, right? It is one of those things that hinders so many of us from eating healthy throughout the work week, especially when we're talking about plant-based or vegan lifestyle. Guys, you need to stay tuned. I am going to show you how to prep for your week using super time-saving tips so that you are ready to go for a full week. Stay tuned. Let's get into it. Okay guys, rice. That is the base that I'm using for my starch this week. If you want to switch it up and use quinoa, or if you're low carb and you want to go cauliflower rice, go for it. This is what I'm using. So I'm going to put in 5 cups of rice into my rice cooker, and I love to use veggie stock or some sort of flavor additive every chance I get when it comes to especially something like rice. So I've got some homemade stock. Use a good, low sodium veggie stock from your store. Again, time-saving tips here, guys. So buy the store bought, okay? So we're gonna put it in there. Now, I recommend you start this prior to actually really getting into the meal prep. And the reason why? Because your rice won't be done by the time this meal prep video is all squared away. That's how fast it is. So again, I suggest you do this ahead of time and get it started so that by the time you go to prep your meals, your rice will be done. All right, you're gonna get a sheet pan. You want to preheat your oven to 425 degrees. Okay, I've got one of these Silpat things. You can also use parchment paper or whatever. Now, the trick here, guys, buy the the broccoli florets already cut. Again, this is for people who have absolutely no time. We're talking time-saving tips here. All I'm doing is just breaking apart the really huge pieces, but I am laying it completely out on a sheet pan, drizzling it with a little olive oil. If you are no oil, just go ahead and add a little more of that veggie stock, salt, pepper. We're throwing it in our oven at 425 degrees for a total of about 20 to 24 minutes. I put mine on the bottom. I don't have a fancy oven, guys, so I've got to switch mine halfway out. If you've got a great convection oven, just throw it in there, set the timer for about 20 to 22 minutes. Check it when it's all done. So I have here my baggies. This is going to be for our smoothies. This is such a time-saving tip and takes just minutes to put together. I grab my greens. I'm going to add a big handful of greens. I actually ended up running out, so I only had enough for 4 bags, but you can make as many of these as you want. Again, it just takes a couple minutes. So to each bag with a handful of greens, I'm going to add 1 banana that I break apart. And then to and then I'm gonna add about a half a cup of frozen blueberries. Again, you want to do the time-saving tips. We don't have time. This is gonna save you time. Use what you can. Frozen berries are just as good as fresh. Go ahead and throw in a half a cup of frozen berries, and then to that we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of whole flaxseed or ground. It's gonna get blended up, so it doesn't really matter. I happen to have whole flaxseed on hand, so I'm gonna throw in a tablespoon. Now, all you need to do to prep these in the morning, guys, you throw the entire bag into a blender and add 1 cup of your non-dairy milk of choice. If you wanna add water, you can even do that. Or you can add a 100% fruit juice if you like yours really sweet. So go ahead, throw those in the freezer. I'll make sure I have all the recipes down in the description, have no fear. This, unfortunately I made this ahead of time, but I will show you, it takes minutes to put together. It is nuts, sesame seeds, a little bit of unsweetened cocoa powder, and a couple tablespoons of coconut oil. That is it. You mix it in a bowl, no cooking required. You put it in the fridge and it hardens up. Then what I did is I'm just separating it into a bunch of different mason jars. This is another on-the-go snack or breakfast for your week. I'm just dividing it up evenly because it is all nuts, guys. There is absolutely no oats or grains in this. It's very filling, so you only need about a half cup of those nuts. And then again, to that, I'm gonna add my frozen berries. I ran out of berries, so I just took a couple strawberries I had from the fridge, sliced up some fresh strawberries, threw those on top. Time-saving tips, use frozen fruit. You're gonna be putting it in the refrigerator, so by the time you go to eat it, the fruit will be thawed out and ready to go. And then what we love to do with this, you can either open it up, throw some non-dairy milk in there, or I'll show you in just a second. We love to use just this vanilla almond milk yogurt. This silk one here is one of our favorites. My girls love it. So I'll just throw that on top with the fresh berries. It is delightful. It is so good, and it's super filling. So here I'm just showing you, I'm switching after 11 minutes, my timer went off. I moved my broccoli from the bottom to the top. And again, if you've already started your rice, it should be done by now. You're just gonna fluff your rice and allow it to cool. So once that rice is done, here we go, we're getting into it. We are gonna put 1 cup of rice into our containers. And again, I'm just showing you guys a few here, but you can make up to 5, 6, 8 of these. It's, throw as many in there as you want if you're preparing for you and your husband. But 4 containers will use 1 can of corn and 1 can of beans of your choice. I use pinto beans here. So we're making a Mexican fiesta bowl. So you're gonna divide that 1 can of corn that you drained amongst these 4 containers. And again, if you're gonna use, if you're making more, if you wanna make 8 of these, you're gonna use 2 cans of each. Then I've got my pinto beans. Again, guys, don't fear the canned. Okay, this is one of those, I feel like, myths that a lot of people, don't understand. As long as you're using ingredients that, it's just, all it is beans and all it is corn. It doesn't have any added sugars, any added salts. You always want to go low sodium or no salt whenever you possibly can when you're looking for canned goods. And of course, as few ingredients as possible. So I divided those up, and now you can't see what I'm doing here, unfortunately, but I'm slicing 2 avocados, and I'm just gonna put a half of avocado into each one here. So it's as simple as that. And I don't even take them out of the shell, because when I go to eat them, obviously when you warm them up, you may not want your avocado warm, so I just take my avocado out, I warm up my rice, beans, and corn, and then I add my avocado to it afterwards. So there's that. I'm gonna add some cilantro because I don't think it is right unless you do add some fresh cilantro in here. Another great tip is if you have a homemade taco seasoning, or you've got a great taco seasoning you like from the store, sprinkle some taco seasoning on top of this, and then I'm just gonna add in a little Dixie cup of my favorite salsa. Again, we're all about convenience. This is all about people who don't have time, so go and buy your favorite jarred salsa and divvy it up, or you could just put the salsa right on top. You don't even have to separate it into those little cups. There you go, guys. You got your Mexican fiesta bowls. Our next meal, and now I'm gonna take my broccoli out super fast, just show you what that looks like after about 20 to 24 minutes. Should be a little charred, nice and roasted, so good. So now we're gonna grab a few more bowls. I'm just gonna show you 2 here. Real quick, we're gonna add another cup of our rice that we've already cooked and prepped, and then we're just gonna add a huge handful of some of that roasted broccoli on top. And then again, because we are all about convenience, this is again meal prep for the insanely busy, we are gonna use our favorite jarred marinara sauce. Again, you wanna look for low sodium or no salt, so you can adjust that on your own. But also minimal ingredients is what we're looking for. You don't want any of those ingredients that you can't pronounce, you can't read. Your body doesn't want those either, trust me. So literally just the rice, the marinara sauce, you're gonna top it just like that. If you wanted to add a little Italian seasoning on top, I also love to add my cashew Parmesan cheese, which I will link that recipe in the description. So there you go, guys. You've got snack, breakfast, and lunch/dinner for the week. Make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you get notified of my future meal prep videos. Thanks for tuning in.